In the time before humans were on the earth, the great chief of the sky spirits had grown tired of his home in the sky, and he made a hole in the sky by pushing a stone around and around, and then pushed ice and snow from above down into that hole, and made a mound that went from almost the earth into the sky, and that's what we know as Mount Shasta. And then he climbed down onto the mountain and walked down its slopes, making trees, melting the snow, which formed the rivers, creating the animals, and then created the bears, which were not like our bears today. They were upright walking bears that spoke and had the gift of speech. They looked very fierce to the great chief, so he sent them down into the timberline at the base of the hill to live. It was cold, so he made a fire inside of his home, and when he put logs on the fire, big sparks would come out the top. When he was sitting around one night with his family inside of his home, the smoke was blowing and getting in all of their eyes, so he sent his daughter up to check the smoke hole where all the smoke was supposed to come out, but he warned her, when you go up to ask the wind to blow more gently, make sure that it doesn't catch your hair and blow you away. So she went up and spoke to the wind and asked it to blow more gently, and as she was about to leave, she had remembered that she had heard from her father that you could see the ocean from the top. So she climbed back up and stuck her head out and tried to look far out to the west. And the wind came and caught her long red hair and blew her down, and she landed almost at the timberline, with her long red hair behind her on the slope. A grizzly bear found her there on the slope when he was out hunting for his family and brought her home. And he and his wife cared for her and raised her as one of the cubs, and she spent her life growing up and being raised as one of them. When the girl had grown into a young woman, she was married to the eldest son of the grizzly bears, and they had many children over the coming years. These children did not look like either the mother or the father. They had less hair, and they did not look like either the bears or the spirits. The grizzly bears were proud of these new creatures, and they were pleased, and they built a new home for the red-haired mother and her children near Mount Shasta, which is now called Little Mount Shasta. Many more years would pass, and then when the grandmother bear was nearing her death, she decided that she wanted to tell the truth to the chief spirit. She feared that she had done some sort of wrong by keeping his daughter from him this whole time, so she asked one of her eldest sons to go to the top of the mountain and tell the chief of the sky spirits that his daughter was with them. The chief was so excited that he came down the mountain in huge strides, and expecting to see the same little girl who had been blown away. Instead, he saw the older woman and the children and became very upset. He became so upset that he banished the grizzlies to walk on 4 legs and took their speech from them, and took his daughter back up into the mountain with him, and some even say that he went back up into the sky after that and put his fire out and chased his children, his grandchildren, out of the lodge, and they were scattered and wandered the earth, and that's what became the first Indians, the Native Americans that we know today, that spread all over the world. So this is their point of origin. For the peoples of this area, this is where they believe that they originated. So these are our collecting areas out here. Pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah.
So we're going on a little road trip, going rock hounding.
That mountain looks pretty.
Turning off of Highway 97 here, headed out of Weed. We are taking the Yellow Butte Road, and that's going to lead us out onto this land here. Hopefully we don't scrape up the truck. Well, we're getting to the end of the road here, and there's a bunch of signs that say private. So, looks like in the time since maybe people filed claims on it. And they're up there harvesting the malachite, who knows. That is cool. That's from an old railroad.
Maybe.
It is. That's really
I
old.
always find them everywhere.
That's cool.
Do you think
that seems to be claimed up? We're just farther out towards the highway, making sure we're not crossing any claim markers, and I'm just doing a little bit of a walk around, making sure not to stand on snakes. And yeah, seeing if there's any minerals out here. But as far as I could tell, the mines are over at the base of that hill, and they're very clearly held and owned currently. Little bird nest on the ground. Maybe that's where they actually nest each other, is on the ground. We are in sage country, so. There was once big trees here. Look at the size of that stump. It cut flat on the top. This is an older site. I recognize this. This is a cigarette tin.
Oh yeah, I know those. The signal flares.
Somebody was smoking a lot of cigarettes back in the day and throwing all their stuff out in one spot. If I brought my metal detector. We must be out at some old dumps. See all the cigarette containers? Look at that. More and more and more. Round nails. Like early 1900s wrench. There's some pieces of leather all curled up. Yep. There could be anything here. For sure. For sure. This thing's poking out of the ground. Yeah.
Because you have your computer and stuff in there.
Well, and then I think we're going to turn back here. We're getting into the land of plastic barrels and stuff, so sometimes in California that's a sign of go back. And where there are that many rodents digging holes in the ground, there's that many things that eat them, like snakes and stuff. These were such big trees at one point. It's just the core of a cedar. And on this side of us is...
I see the truck that way. We should go back.
We're on the side of Mount Shasta here, as opposed to the western side of it. Now we're north of it. That would be the east side of it, and the south side of it on the other side. Best way to explain that. If you've seen these in other videos where I've shown you before, this is why my survival teacher called them tree bones, is because this is where the top of this tree fell and it landed here, and that's where it went. That's where its whole body was, and the whole rest of it, the round part, has rotted down and it has turned into just this. Who knows how long it took it to turn into that, but the tree has turned into that. And the sap that was flowing out to these were inside this log, and that's where the branches attach. So there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. That's why they're called tree bones. And even now, I'm telling you, if you take one of these and you carve into the center of it, there'll still be sapwood in there. I hear all the time now, but super sappy wood, concentrated starter wood. And you can see one still sticking out of the tree here. And that's how they attach in there. And when you get wood that's cut into sheets and flat stuff, those are the eyes. And so the circle of the eye is where the branch came out, and then that's why they call them eyes, is because of that shape right there. You can see it kind of looks like an eye. And that little thing right there, even though it sat here for long enough for the whole tree to rot away, well, there's the inside of one there because we broke it apart, and you can start to see the sap in it. Okay, this one hasn't been exposed at all, and it's heavy. And you can tell they're the only things that are left. So, tree bone, kerchunk.
Dragonfly just sitting on top of
Stovepipe. Yeah, there's a home here, stacked inside here.